Okay, Khash Saghafi, Liberty Home Mortgage. Are you buying a home? This is step 2 of 3, okay? So if you did not watch my previous video, watch the previous one, step 1 of 3. After you watch this one, watch the next one, step 3 of 3. Step 2 of 3 is income. But before I go through this, here's what I want you to do. I want you to get out a pen and paper. I want you to take notes on this. This stuff is important, okay? Also, I want you to click the subscribe button. The subscribe button is right below this video. Click subscribe. I want you to share this on your social media pages to help your friends and family, and especially if you're a real estate agent, help your clients. And then lastly, of course, I want you to comment. Put your questions down there. I do respond to every single comment, good and bad. I've had people say, Khash, you can't make blanket statements like that. And okay, hey, I made a blanket statement. Home prices in the United States are not going down, they're decelerating. Price reductions are not that, but that's taking me off course. Okay, income. Takes 3 things to qualify for a mortgage loan: credit, income, and money. And we put these on the screen above me or below me or sideways or in, out, whatever it is, but we're putting them on the screen, okay? Credit, income, and money. Credit determines if you can even get a loan. Watch my previous video to learn about that one. Income, step 2. Income, write this down, determines how big of a loan you can get, okay? So income determines how big of a loan you can get. Credit, income, and money. As I explained in my first video, imagine it like a pond with rocks in it for steps, and you want to get across the pond without getting wet. You got to cross 3 steps. Those 3 steps are credit, income, and money. Let's just say you crossed the first step already. That's my previous video. Now we're on step 2, income. When it comes to income, income determines how big of a loan I can give you. I want you to write this down. Income is broken up into 2 parts, okay? The dollar figure of the income, the actual amount, okay? So it's the amount of income, the dollar figure, and then it's the source of the income. Where are you getting it from? Those are the 2 things that every lender in America looks at. And do you want to know why these videos are especially important for loan officers out there? Because I'm teaching you how to look at your loan applications. The number 1 issue in this industry when it comes to qualifying borrowers, the number 1 issue, quite honestly, is employment income calculations. Hands down. That's the biggest place we make mistakes. That's the biggest place loan officers get frustrated and upset with underwriters on, is saying, I don't understand why we can't use that income. It's here. This is the key. So if you're a loan officer, you better be watching these videos and you better be taking notes. Your mind has to think like this. Imagine it like Peyton Manning. I've heard Peyton Manning, when he would step up to the line playing football, that everything was in slow motion and he could see the entire field. And I've heard that the best quarterbacks in NFL history, they can see the entire field. What I'm telling you right now is seeing the entire field. When it comes to income, it's the actual amount, the dollar figure, and it's the source of the income. Let's go with the amount, okay? The amount is how much money you make, okay? Let's just say it's a salary of $36,000 a year. It's a salary of $75,000 a year. You're paid hourly $20 an hour, okay? Now, when you get paid hourly, I'm gonna ask you a question. Do you work 40 hours per week? Most of America does. If you work 40 hours per week, then the way that my industry calculates your income is we take $20 an hour times 40 hours a week times 52 weeks a year. That tells me your annual income, okay? We then break it down monthly by dividing by 12 months, and that tells me your gross monthly income before taxes. It's important to say to everybody, when you are an employee and your employer is withholding payroll tax or withholding taxes from your paychecks, we use the gross amount to qualify you before taxes come out, okay? Now, you might be a nurse and you're sitting there saying, Khash, I don't work 40 hours, I work 3 12s, okay? If you work 3 12s, that's 36 hours. And if you say, Khash, I'm a nurse, I make $32 an hour, okay? But I work 3 12s, okay. $32 an hour times 36 hours a week times 52 weeks, that's your annual income. Then divide it by 12 months, that's your monthly income. Let's pretend that you say, Hesh, I work part-time. Some weeks I work 18 hours, some weeks I work 24 hours, some weeks I work 52 hours, some weeks I work 8 hours, and some weeks I don't even work. When you get into variable income, and this is the dollar figure we're talking about, this is the dollar figure. When you get into variable based on hours, your income goes up and down and up and down and up and down, okay? Then we average the income. We don't take $32 an hour times 30 hours a week times 52 weeks. We don't do that. You can't do that because you do not work 30 hours per week. For loan officers watching me, as soon as somebody says, I am not full-time, I do not have a set mandatory schedule that I work of hours. As soon as they say that to you, and by the way, they're not going to offer it up to you. You've got to you've got to ask the right questions. You've got to go 2 to 3 to 4 questions deep. Don't just say to them, how much did you make last year? I made 50 grand. Okay, but if they made $50,000 by working 500 hours in the first month of the year and then they didn't work the rest of the year, I can't use the income, okay? So you've got to pay attention to how many hours are they working? Are they considered full-time? What does the income look like on the pay stub? By the way, the income on the pay stub is where the rubber hits the road. Now, a lot of people might be watching also saying, Hesh, I work 40 hours a week, 30 of them are my base hours, and then I work 10 hours of overtime. Okay, we've got to break that up. When it comes to variable income, we average it over a 2-year history. So if your hours are changing daily and you do not work a set, fixed, or I should say, you do not have a mandatory number that you must work, it's variable, then we average that income. And that is so critically important for everybody to know. If your hours change daily or even weekly, we have to average the income. If you work a set amount, I work at Ford Motors, I put tires on cars, I work 40 hours a week. That's kindergarten math. 30 bucks an hour, 40 hours a week, 52 weeks a year, divided by 12 months, that's your monthly income, okay? It's the dollar figure. Don't forget, credit, income, money. Income determines how big of a loan you can get. Income, and we're gonna put this on the screen above me again, income is broken down into 2 parts. The amount, which is the dollar figure, and the actual source of the income. Right now, I'm talking about the amount, okay? So if your salary divided by 12 months. If you're hourly, full-time, I take your hourly times the number of hours times 52 weeks divided by 12 months. That's your monthly income. If it's variable on hours, then I average it over the last 2-year period, okay? You wanna pay attention to that. Keep this in mind, everybody, especially the loan officers. For the loan officers, this is critical. You gotta write this down, okay? I take my regular hours, anything that is overtime, bonus, commission, anything, okay? Shift differentials, anything, okay? Anything above your base regular hours is additional income. That type of income is averaged over a 2-year period. If you tell me right now, Hesh, I work 60 hours, I get this a lot from people. Hesh, I've been working 60 hours a week. Great. Is 40 your base? And for the loan officers, pay attention to what I'm telling you, especially if you work for me, for God's sakes. Is 40 your base? And when you sit here and say, yes, Hesh, I work 40 base, but 20 overtime, okay, start with the 40 base. I'm gonna qualify you on that. When it comes to income, the amount with the additional income of overtime, base, overtime, commissions, bonuses, things like that, if it's not consistent or it is declining, I throw it out the window, okay? I throw it out the window. If it's a declining income or it's not consistent or you've not received it for 2 years, I throw it out the window. Certain exceptions could be made. I won't go through exceptions right now. But income is broken down into the actual amount and the source. Let's talk about the source of the income, okay? I'm gonna say to you, what's your hourly wage? You're gonna say, Hesh, it's 20 bucks an hour. I'm gonna say to you, do you work 40 hours a week and are you considered full-time? These are the questions. And when I hear you stutter and say, well, you know, I'm gonna say, okay, I've gotta see this stuff. So for loan officers, there's things people say, and this is why you have to have live conversations, okay? All of this fancy applications online and off of your phone, that's all wonderful, but you have to have live conversations. When it comes to the source of the income, I'm gonna ask you, where do you work at, okay? How long have you been there? I'm telling everybody watching me right now, if you're going for a home loan, besides calling me, because I do lend in 45 states, okay? As of this video, we're gonna have all 50 though. But anyways, when you are going for a loan, as soon as you tell me you've been on your job for less than 2 years, I damn near want your resume. That's the God's honest truth. I want your resume. Give me your resume. I gotta see this. If you've worked more than one job in the last 2 consecutive years, I need your employment history. Employment history is the biggest killer of deals in my industry when you go live on these loans. People get declined because loan officers do not do a thorough enough job of vetting out the employment history. Don't forget, it's not just the income. The dollar figure, it's not just the dollar figure of the income. Income is broken down into 2 parts, the dollar figure, the amount, and the source. When it comes to the source, I would like you to be on the job for 2 years. There's 3 things or 3 parts to qualifying the source. You write these down, I'll put these on the screen, okay? To qualify the source of the income, I would like it to be 2 years, same job, same location, same position, no breaks. That's as vanilla as you get, okay? That's step 1, what I'm hoping for, okay? If you do not have that, you're not on the job for 2 consecutive years, not with the same employer, not in the same position. If you do not have that, all is not lost. Then we go to step 2, as I say it, okay? Which is 2 years, same line of work, no gaps, no breaks. 2 years, 2 consecutive years, same line of work, no gaps, no breaks. As soon as you tell me, Khash, I'm not in the same line of work, I've changed lines of work, then we go down to step 3, okay? When it comes to qualifying the source, there's 3 steps that I go through. Same job, same location for 2 years, same line of work for 2 consecutive years. Step 3 is, what's the story? If you're watching this video right now and you're thinking, holy Toledo, I was in college, I graduated college, and now I took my degree and now I'm an accountant here and I'm working, that's fine. We will use so you do not have 2 consecutive years on the job. You do not have 2 consecutive years, same line of work. We will use your college education and take your degree and tie it into your job. I have somebody right now, as a matter of fact, who went from nursing to construction. Try that one on for size, by the way. Nursing in the intensive care unit to a construction worker. So, 2 years, same job, same location? No. Step 2, same line of work? No. Step 3, what's the story? You know what the story was? Well, it's September of 22 when I'm doing this video right now, so it was COVID. He told me, he said, Khash, I was so appalled by the level of care of patients, I could no longer be a part of it. I quit being a nurse. He was a nurse for over 10 years. He was so appalled by what he saw. He said, I'm done. He shovels rocks. He works for the laborers union in Cleveland, Ohio, the 310, the local 310, the laborers union. He shovels rocks all day. And you know what he says? He's happy as can be. So his story is, I worked here for 10 years. I mentally and emotionally could not handle it. I changed lines of work. I went into a job that I just simply shovel rocks all day and carry stuff and I do labor and I'm happy as can be with it. We were fine with that. We gave him the loan still because what's the story? That makes sense. Not everybody ends up loving what they do. Not everybody loves the line of work they're in. It has to make sense. He moved into a field that is full-time, 40 hours a week with an hourly wage that we use to qualify him, and his pay stubs showed us that he's been working 40 hours a week. There's a lot more to that in there, okay? So when it comes to income, step 2, this is critical to getting a loan and getting it right. So if you're watching me right now taking notes, I want you to have written this stuff down. Income is broken down into the dollar figure and the source. On those 2 parts, the dollar figure is qualified based on hourly or salary or how many hours you work. And the source, we look at the source of where you're getting the income from, okay? So those are the parts to income. As I wind this seminar down, or this presentation down, make sure if you didn't see my first topic on this, which is credit, that's step 1 of qualifying for a loan, you go back and watch that video. Make sure you follow my next video, which is coming up, which is buying a home, step 3 of 3, which is gonna be over money. Before you go, subscribe, click that subscribe button right below my video, share this on your page, comment on this. I love to hear your comments and your opinions and your questions. Fire your questions away. I respond to every single question. So if you have a specific scenario out there and you're looking for an answer, ask me. I'll give you the answer to it. So thanks for following. Catch you in the next video.